Every day we walk or drive by car on roads and bridges. We live in our own apartments and admire skyscrapers. Thanks to constant construction, the urban landscape acquires gloss, becomes convenient and safe for life. No modern building is complete without concrete works. The concrete can be said with reasonable confidence to be the most demanded and popular building material. The high-quality concrete is a reliability guarantee for any structures of any complexity to be erected. As you know, concrete is a solid mortar of cement, crushed stone and sand. It seems that it's enough to mix these components, add some water and done. However, professionals know that simply mixing the ingredients is not enough to create a durable and reliable concrete. The production of high-quality concrete doesn't begin at the plant, but here, in the laboratory. After all, before getting into production, all components of the concrete mix undergo the strictest control. First of all, experts analyze the quality of sand. For this so-called spot, samples are taken from different places in the batch. They are mixed to have a combined sample. A test subsample, as they say in the laboratory, of a certain fixed mass is carefully measured from this sample. Then it is placed in a hot drying cabinet. The water evaporates and the weight of the subsample decreases. Thus, the moisture content in the sand is calculated in the laboratory. Why do laboratory technicians spend time on this? It's simple. The amount of water added depends on the moisture content in the sand. It must be neither more nor less than required for the manufacture of good concrete. Next, the sand is checked for harmful impurities, which can subsequently reduce the strength of cement gel. They are fine and clay particles. These particles are not visible to the eye, but they are in every sand. The question is what quantity. This test requires a measuring cylinder with water and another subsample of sand. After all the harmfulness has surfaced, measurements are taken. If the amount of impurities is within the normal range, the sand is sent for further investigation. The right amount of water in the mixture is the key to the quality of concrete, its strength. Excess water will inevitably reduce the strength of the concrete produced, as it will increase the water-cement ratio. And this is one of the most important characteristics when calculating the formulation of the concrete mixture. In other words, in order to achieve high-quality products, the water consumption must be within the narrow limits defined when designing a particular mixture formulation. Therefore, before the sand is put into production, it's important to find out the particle size distribution of a particular batch. How is it found out? Another subsample is taken and passed through a series of special laboratory sieves. The sand passes through screens with different matches, and grains of sand of a certain size are retained in each of them. So the entire volume of sand is divided into fractions. Then the mass of each fraction is measured, and with this in mind, the finest modulus of sand is calculated. After the sand is examined from all sides, the laboratory technicians take up crushed stone or gravel. It depends on what will be used as a large aggregate in the mortar at the moment. To begin with, a sample of the material is tested like sand for the amount of harmful impurities. Then comes the strength test. After all, crushed stone is the skeleton of concrete, and the skeleton must be strong. So how do they do it? A sample of crushed stone is squeezed by a hydraulic press, gradually increasing the load. This test allows determining which strength class the aggregate belongs to. After that, crushed stone, like sand, is screened and the granulometric composition of the aggregate is calculated. When the proportions of certain fractions correspond to the required indicators, the raw materials are taken to work. The production laboratory pays much attention to the water as well. Manufacturing of the concrete assumes that the water quality and quantity are really important. The water used in the production of concrete is literally drinkable. And finally, cement. Cement is the main component of concrete, and its quality directly depends on the characteristics of its constituent components. For example, the concrete production company Erkan cooperates with one of the world's largest cement producers, Heidelberg Cement. Their product quality is considered one of the highest in the Russian market. The system of continuous in-process control is what ensures the quality of our products. Quality control is provided at all stages of the process, from the quarry, where raw materials, limestone and clay are prepared, to loading the finished product to cement trucks. All technological processes are rhythmically organized in automatic mode. We devote a lot of time to product quality to form long-term relationships with our customers, to ensure their confidence in our products. However, in addition to excellent technical characteristics, cement has another important feature. Its production is becoming more and more environmentally friendly. At burning of the main component of cement, clinker, a large amount of carbon dioxide is formed, and this is a global problem. Heidelberg Cement develops cement grades with a low clinker factor by replacing clinker with additives that do not reduce the quality of the cement itself. In addition, Heidelberg Cement introduces energy-saving technologies into production, including heat recycling and application of alternative fuels. Taking into account the production output, the scale of emission reduction is colossal. Since 2014, we have managed to reduce CO2 emissions by around 16% by using a smart fuel blend that consists of 77% gas and 23% alternative fuels such as tires, sewage sludge and wood. Heidelberg Cement has ambitious plans to lead the global cement industry towards carbon neutrality. However, to achieve this goal, partner companies that share the values associated with care of the environment are needed. Such a partner for Heidelberg Cement is Erkan, which was one of the first in Russia to use cement with a low clinker factor in its production. We tested our cement grade together with Erkan. In general, they are a very progressive company. They are not afraid to try new things, for which we especially appreciate them. Thus, thanks to the long-term trusting relationship between Erkan and Heidelberg Cement, it became possible to promote a new cement with additives on the market, the very presence of which is an indicator that the Russian cement and concrete industries are beginning to change towards environmentally friendly production and care of the environment. So, all the ingredients of the future concrete have been tested. The formulation of the mixture with the necessary parameters has been carefully developed. However, the raw materials that were so thoroughly tested in the laboratory arrive in huge batches, and not everything goes to production immediately. The amount of work is large, and of course the material must be always available, more than enough, that is. There must be plenty of it. All materials are divided by grades. It is important that the walls are high. Here are the walls of this warehouse cast with our concrete. It is important that the production warehouses are built using modern technologies, so the quality of bulk materials doesn't decrease at storage. With such a warehouse, we can be calm. Sand and gravel will get to the production line without losing their valuable properties. In production, it is important to adhere to the principle of rational use of the organization's resources. Therefore, it is important that the storage of raw materials and the production site are located close to each other. These large cylindrical containers are called silos. They are filled with cement. Other bulk components of the future concrete, sand and crushed stone are waiting in the bins. And finally, the main and most interesting stage is the production of concrete. Sand and crushed stone from the bins are fed in strictly measured portions to the belt conveyor, and through it they enter the lifting self-dumping basket, the skip. The skip lifts crushed stone and sand, at the same time a screw conveyor with cement starts moving. All these bulk materials are fed into the concrete mixer chamber, after which water is added in the required volume, and as soon as all components enter the concrete mixer, it begins its operation. Just after 20 seconds of mixing, the mass of water, cement and aggregates seems to be evenly distributed. However, a high-quality homogeneous cement paste is obtained only after 60 agitations. So 60 seconds and the concrete mixture is ready. The plant is provided with automatic control. The program is installed in a production computer, where the operator enters the formulation given to him, and the program provides dosing by itself, according to lot cells. It dispenses correct doses and makes a mixture. The operator controls the correct set of materials for the mixture. He also monitors the plasticity of concrete, increases and decreases moisture content. The whole process of producing high-quality concrete is automatic. Mistakes are impossible. As an additional guarantor, the production of the concrete mixture is continuously monitored by the operator, who, if necessary, quickly makes adjustments using the central control panel. And now, finally, the concrete mixture is ready. It remains to be shipped and delivered to the construction site. But no, instead of the construction site, the finished mixture is delivered back to the laboratory for quality control of the finished product. Without this control, no batch will leave the plant. These are the principles of producing high-quality concrete. To begin with, the density of the concrete mixture is checked. According to this indicator, they find out whether the mixture meets the required properties or not. After all, there may be more water or entrained air in the composition, and this ultimately affects the strength of concrete. So, how is it done? To check the density, a fresh sample is thoroughly placed in measuring wear. It is compacted a little more and weighed. This indicator is compared with the reference one. If everything is in order, they proceed with the second parameter, workability. Or, in other words, the degree of fluidity. The workability is divided into classes. It is very important to choose the right class for each process task. As soon as the production laboratory makes sure that everything is in order, the finished mixture is loaded into concrete mixer trucks and immediately delivered to the construction site. All the equipment is new. The fleet is continuously being updated. We're trying to look after the cleanliness of the trucks, ensuring that they're in good condition, the condition of the rubber and everything else, the chassis. It is possible to say that loading takes place every minute. The trucks must come for loading one after another, with 1 minute interval, and the loading is very fast. It is important that even the shipment of the finished product is strictly controlled so that the customers are absolutely sure that they will receive a high-quality product on time and in the required amount. It seems that all is done, produced and shipped, we can relax. However, one more condition must be met in order to preserve the high quality of the concrete mixture at the facility. The storability of the concrete mixture is the period of time during which the mixture keeps its great properties in terms of plasticity. After that, it starts hardening and thickening. Therefore, it's necessary to deliver it to the place of use within 2 hours. Understanding this feature of the concrete mixture, the dispatching service of the manufacturing company organizes the on-time delivery to its customers. For the same reason, concrete plants are most often located next to the main traffic arteries. This allows the concrete mixture to be delivered to any point of the city without loss of quality. After loading the plant, the customer receives an SMS. It indicates the deadline, delivery time, truck number, and the customer sees what time and when his concrete will be, so that he doesn't worry about. After we leave the plant for the facility, a logistician contacts us, who coordinates the delivery or informs about any problems on the road. Well, there are cases when the truck cannot access the site for unloading because it is difficult, risky to do at the facility. The logistician contacts difficult facilities and solves our problems. Makes the road approximately, let's say, we come, unload. This is very convenient for organizing work at the construction site. We can accurately plan the volume and time of work performed. On average, a truck is on the road for no more than 60 minutes, and it spends maximum 2 hours at unloading. The concrete truck sped off with the tested mixture, and work continues at the plant and in the laboratory. The specialists are always at work, checking raw materials, controlling production, testing new chemical additives, consulting customers, but most importantly, testing the strength of the finished concrete. The most effective way to test the ability of concrete to withstand specific loads is to break the concrete, thereby learning its compressive strength. But how to arrange it? It is inconvenient and uneconomical to destroy the structures of construction facilities. Therefore, they do the following. Several cube-shaped samples are prepared from the concrete mixture, like these ones. Then they are kept in molds for a day, taken out and placed in a humidity-curing cabinet. After that, the fun begins. The cubes gradually ripen. They are like apples filled with juice and become strong. The cubes are tested on days 3, 7, 14 and 28. Why at this particular time? Because concrete, according to GOST standards, must have a certain level of strength just on days 3, 7 and 28, and the intermediate period, day 14, was introduced by the specialists of the Erkan company independently in order to check the regulatory indicators more accurately. So, a cube taken out of the cabinet is weighed and then compressed until complete destruction. In this way, the ultimate strength and bearing capacity of concrete is measured. All formulations of concrete and mortar mixtures are regularly tested in independent laboratories, so they have quality statements and certificates. High-quality concrete of any kind, commercial, lean, bridge quality, lightweight, is obtained only when the entire production process is controlled by experts at every stage, from the purchase of raw materials to the delivery of finished products. It is in this case that concrete is obtained, which will serve as a reliable and solid foundation for buildings, bridges, roads, and our security for many years.